really allow him to get really deep into the game. So I think it was a little bit better, but I think it was just kind of deep counts and some 0-2 damage there too got him in trouble.
And those have been similar issues, I think, through the first couple of months. At this point, do you try to do more of the same thing and trust that, or do you have to try something different? Like, what's the fix there?
I mean, I think, again, we're talking about a guy that's been really good, and, we're trying to build off of each side, each outing, and kind of go from there. So it's, it's kind of up to him, I think, to really just continue to attack the zone, and he's really got to just take it one inning and one outing at a time.
John, have you noticed it taking a toll from a mental side of things when it comes to Alek?
Not really. I mean, he really wants to compete and keep his team in games. And, today after the homer, I thought he did that part of it. I'm sure it's tough for him, because he's a big part of what we're trying to do and a big part of what we're, if we want to accomplish what we want to, he's going to be a big part of it. So I think that part of it is a little bit frustrating for him. But just the overall competitor in him, he wants to be out there and he wants to really give us a chance every night to win.
And I guess on a positive note, Trevor Richards continues to give you some pretty solid outings. Is this the best his changeup has looked to you since you've been around him?
Yeah, he's in a really good spot, obviously, right now. A lot of confidence in his fastball and his changeup. I think he's figuring out when to use the fastball, whether it's up or down in the zone, much like Kevin Gausman does. So he's been fantastic, and hopefully he can kind of continue to roll with it.
John, you told us before the game that Alek had to attack the strike zone, not be too fine with it. Do you feel like he did that today?
Yes and no. I think, leading off the game with a walk, didn't help. But I think, his overall mindset and his competitiveness kind of kicked in a little bit. But it's still, it's at the point where I think if it's tough. He was ahead of, the Toro home run, he's ahead of him. With 2 strikes, and I think from there it's a fine line between saying, okay, I'm going to be in the zone, or when you're ahead in the count trying to take a shot to get a punch out. So it's getting there. I thought he did some of it, and some of it, I think just deep counts, even when he was ahead, kind of got him in trouble.
John, you mentioned building each bullpen, building each outing. I think because of the talent and what he's accomplished, you kind of feel like it could snap into place, but it's a pretty sizable sample of inconsistent pitching at this point. Is it perhaps unreasonable to expect it to suddenly kick in? Does it have to be maybe more of an incremental build to get him back to where he needs to be? Yeah,
probably more incremental, I think, and try to have a couple positive outings in a row and really get him rolling. So, when you're at this point in the season, you're trying to do everything. I mean, not at any point in the season, but you're trying to win every game, right? And I think he understands that, and I think everyone in the bullpen understands that. So it'll come, and I think that you have to kind of be very particular to see when it is getting there, and kind of treat that accordingly, and not just sit back and maybe allow some things that have been happening to continue to happen later in games. So hopefully there's incremental gains going forward.
Hey, John, from afar it seemed that that Alek was maybe a little bit dejected when he got the news that his night was over. How would you describe that meeting and how he was when you had to give him the news? Yeah,
he always wants to continue to go. He always wants to continue to battle, and that part of him, myself, Pete, the entire team, we love that about him. And right now, I think it's going to take a little bit of time. What I told him was, that time will come for you to continue to go. And right now, in our best interest in the team to try to keep this right where it is. Tonight's not the night, but he's it shows what kind of fire he has and what kind of competitiveness he has. He always wants to keep going. I think he understands that. Being opening day starter, he wants it. He wants it bad, and I think you just got to be really careful with when you let that go.
John, despite the 0 for 4, did you see better approach, better swings from Vlad tonight also?
Yeah, I think so. Got the ball in the air a couple times, and I think, it's, 3 hits yesterday, and, kind of a weird matchup for us up and down with Tehran, where it was kind of living on the edges and not a whole lot of velo, and probably the tendency to do a little bit too much, but, hit the ball well to center. I think Vlad's real close, and I think it's gonna come quick when it does, and pleased with the progress that he's made. And again, he's an exception to where it's going to take one swing, one at bat, and he's going to get rolling.
right, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks, John.
Thanks, guys.